Hello everyone, I am Reshma Totre working as Assistant Professor in Information Technology Department. In today's session, we will discuss about domain name system. First, we will see need for DNS. To identify an entity, TCP/IP protocols use the IP address which uniquely identifies the connection of host to the internet. However, people prefer to use names instead of numeric address. Therefore, we need a system that can map a name to an address or an address to the name. When internet was small, mapping was done using a host file. The host file had two columns, name and address. Each host could store the host file on its disk and update it periodically from master host file. When program or user wanted to map a name to an address, host consulted the host file and found the mapping. It is impossible to have one single host file to relate every address with name and vice versa. The host file would be too large to store in every host. One solution would be to store entire host file in a single computer and allow access to this centralized information to every computer that needs mapping. But we know that this would create huge amount of traffic on the internet. Another solution, the one used today, is to divide this huge amount of information into smaller part and store each part on a different computer. In this method, the host that needs mapping can contact the closest computer holding the needed information. This method is used by domain name system. Now we'll see the purpose of domain name system. Figure shows how TCP/IP uses DNS client and DNS server to map a name to an address and reverse mapping in similar way. A user wants to use a file transfer client to access corresponding file transfer server running on remote host. The user knows only the file transfer server name such as forozon.com. The TCP/IP suite needs the IP address of file transfer server to make the connection. The following six steps maps the host name to an IP address. First step, the user passes the host name to the file transfer client. Second, the file transfer client passes the host name to the DNS client. Step number 3, the DNS client sends a message to DNS server with a query that gives the file transfer name using the known IP address of the following DNS server. Step number 4, the DNS server responds the IP address of desired file transfer server. Step number 5, the DNS client passes the IP address to the file transfer server. Step number 6, the file transfer client now uses the received IP address to access the file transfer server. The purpose of accessing internet is to make connection between the file transfer client and the server, but before this can happen, another connection need to be made between the DNS client and DNS server. Now we'll see namespace. A namespace that maps each address to unique name can be organized in two ways. First one is a hierarchical and the second one is a flat. To be unambiguous, the names assigned to machines must be carefully selected from namespace with complete control over the binding between the name and IP addresses. In other words, we can say the names must be unique because the addresses are unique. First, we will see flat namespace. In a flat namespace, a name is assigned to an address. A name is a sequence of characters without structure. The names may or may not have a common section. If they do, it has no meaning. Hierarchical namespace. In a hierarchical namespace, each name is made up of several parts. The first part can define the nature of the organization. The second part can define name of an organization. And the third part can define department in the organization, and so on. In this case, the authority to assign and control the namespace can be decentralized. A central authority can assign the part of the name that define the nature of the organization and the name of the organization. The responsibility of the rest of the names can be given to the organization itself. The organization can add suffix or prefix to the name to define its host or resources. The management of the organization need not worry that prefix chosen for host is taken by another organization, because even part of an address is same, the whole address is different. Now we'll see the examples related to hierarchical namespace. Assume two colleges and a company call one of their computer as a challenger. The first college is given a name by a central authority such as fhda.edu. The second college is given the name as a berkeley.edu, and the company given the name as a smart.com. When each of these organizations add the name challenger to the name they have already been given, the end result three distinguishable names: challenger.fhda.edu, challenger.berkeley.edu, and challenger.smart.com. The names are unique without the need for the assignment by central authority. The central authority control only the part of the name, not the whole. Now we'll see domain name system. To have a hierarchical namespace, domain namespace was designed. In this design, the names are defined in an inverted tree structure with the root at the top. The tree can have 128 levels, level 0 root to level 127. Now we'll see labels and domain names. Each node in the tree has a label, which is a string with maximum 63 characters. The root label is a null string. DNS required that children of node have a different label, which guarantees the uniqueness of the domain names. Now we'll see domain names. Each node in the tree has a domain name. A full domain name is a sequence of labels separated by dots. The domain names are always read from node up to the root. The last label is the label of the root. This means that full domain name always ends in a null label, which means the last character in the dot because of null string is nothing. Now we'll see fully qualified domain name and partially qualified domain names. If label is terminated by null string, it is called fully qualified domain name. And fully qualified domain name is a domain name that contains full name of a host. It contains all labels from the most specific to the most general that uniquely define the name of the host. For example, the domain name is the fully qualified domain name of a computer named Challenger installed on Advanced Technology Center, that means ATC, at De Anza College. A DNS server can only match an fully qualified domain name to an address. Note that here the name must end with a null label, but because null means nothing, the label ends with a dot. Challenger.atc.fhda.edu. Now we'll see partially qualified domain name. If a label is not terminated by a null string, it is called partially qualified domain name. A partially qualified domain name starts from node, but it does not reach the root. It is used when name to be resolved belongs to the same site as the client. Here the resolver can supply the missing part called suffix to create a fully qualified domain name. Example, if a user at fhda.edu site wants to get the IP address of the challenger computer, the user can define the partial name. The DNS client adds the suffix to atc.fhda.edu before passing the address to the DNS server. That means we can add challenger suffix here. The DNS client normally hold list of suffixes. The following can be list of suffixes to DNSA college. That means here atc.fhda.edu, or you can add cs.hmme. The null suffix define nothing. This suffix is added when the user define the fully qualified domain name. Thank you.